church is my church. This church is your church. This congregation, it is our family. I love its old folks. I love its young folks. This church was made for you and me. The challenge lighting, the Sunday sermons. I love the music, especially encore. When I attend here, the Spirit fills me. This church was made for you and me. So keep on giving. We need your money to keep on growing and pay our light bills, to pay employees and balance budgets. This church was made for you and me. When the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, oh Lord, I want you to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh when the air is pure and clean, oh when the air is pure and clean. Oh Lord, I want you to be in that number. When the air is pure and clean. Oh, when we all have food to eat. Oh, when we all have food to eat. Oh Lord, I want you to be in that number. When we all have food to eat. Oh, when the world has no more guns. Oh, when the world has no more guns. Oh Lord, I want you to be in that number. When the world has no more guns. Oh, when the saints come marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh Lord, I want you to be in that number. When the saints go marching in. If we all pledge to give our share. If we pledge to give our share. UUCC will keep on growing. If we all will give our share. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh Lord, I want you to be in that number. When the saints go marching in. This church is my church. This church is your church. This congregation, it is our family. I love its old folks. I love its young folks. This church was made for you and me. The challenge lighting, the Sunday sermons. I love the music, especially encore. When I attend here, the Spirit fills me. This church was made for you and me. So keep on giving. We need your money to keep on growing and pay our light bills, to pay employees and balanced budget. This church was made for you and me. When the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh when the air is pure and clean, oh when the air church is my church, this church is your church, this congregation, it is our family. I love its old folks, I love its young folks. This church was made for you and me. The child is lighting the Sunday sermons. I love the music, especially encore. When I attend here, the Spirit fills me. This church was made for you and me. So keep on giving, we need your money to keep on growing and pay our light bills, to pay employees and balance budgets. This church was made for you and me.
Can anyone hear that? Is the microphone on? Okay. First time as hello. First time as service leader. The power. Good morning. Please find your seat and prepare for this morning's service. Well, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. Our minister is the Reverend Stephen Robinson. My name is Kate Heald, and I am your service leader for today. To those of you here with us in the sanctuary, please be advised that this service is being streamed on YouTube. And on the website, there is a link to a Zoom event. For those of you who are not here, we would still, of course, rather have you here in person, but we're glad that you are with us. Please make sure you read the announcements in your printed order of service. Also be sure to read the weekly events that are mailed to you each Thursday, as well as the website. I urge you to keep the website open as a tab on your internet browser so you can keep up with what's happening. Here's an announcement for parents. If you need to occupy your young folks, we do have toys and books in the back of the social hall, as well as a nursery space today. If you have questions about where your children go or what they can do, ask Jonathan or Bethany. And Bethany is right here. Jonathan is right here. Great. It is Pledge Month, and we are highlighting what members value about the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia, because of course we want you to donate. This I value is a theme that we've been tracking, and today's speaker is Jonathan White. Jonathan.
Do I need to adjust this up? Is that good? I think. Can you hear me? I hear myself. Okay. All right. So, I want to start by admitting that I have racked my brain since they asked me to do this, and I said yes. And I have written and rewritten half a dozen things to say to you. I thought about talking about being a third-generation school teacher, public school teacher. I thought about talking about my parents, my own dad, who modeled for me overcommitting to your kids' things, scouting and coaching and church and community. I thought about talking about how much anxiety this was going to give me to stand in front of smart, sophisticated people that I admire and try not to embarrass myself. But in 3 minutes, every time I kept coming back to this 3 minutes, like, oh my God, that's the hardest part. This is gonna be hard. So I decided that I wanted to talk about doing hard things and throw all the other stuff out and just make this point that I don't remember this being a thing when I was a kid, but in our schools these days, there's a common mantra thing we're teaching kids. There are a lot of folks dedicated to teaching kids that they can do hard things, to have this belief that they can do hard things. And I like this. It's really an interesting value. And I think it applies really well here. When I was asked to do this, I felt like I was choosing the hard thing and saying yes, that I would do it. And so I want to talk first just a little bit about what doing hard things does for us as I've thought through this. And, you know, doing hard things saves people, saves values as an act of service, which Stephen has talked about before. Doing hard things is an act of service for others. And, presumably, if you don't say yes to some hard thing, somebody else is going to have to do it. And so we even at the base level, we're saving someone. I don't know who they would have gone to if I had said no, but whoever that is, you're welcome, right? But, you know, other times, if we don't say yes to those things, there might not be somebody else at all who will do it. And about a year ago, this time, I was looking forward to rolling off of the board at the end of June, not having anything to do, and Nancy came to me. Nancy, who, by the way, does a lot of hard things for us, right? So I was stuck with two hard choices: how to say no to somebody like that who demonstrates all these hard things all the time, or a hard thing, or taking over a CYRE program, being the CYRE chair with a program with kids, the number of kids who were with us still, who had been through COVID, you could count on one hand. And two of them were my kids, and they didn't like coming on Sunday. And then in July, so I said yes, and then in July, the DRE and the RE assistant resigned. But Nancy, again, and Bethany and I had to do the hard thing and tried to do what we could to provide programming for children and youth, and we've done some great things, but I'll admit, right, it's been hard. It's hard finding motivation, letting my motivation comes and goes. It's hard trying to balance having a job and having kids and their own thing all the time, and CYRE Zoom meetings, and how we're gonna hire a DRE, and who's gonna staff the nursery, and coordinating with worship, who's our kids going out today and not. It gets hard. But I wanna tell you about the conversations that I've had with friends and family as I've been doing these hard things. They'll ask me, what you doing, what's life like? And I'll tell them what I've been doing at church. And I've had a number of conversations with parents, family, friends, who will say, oh, they'll listen to my story and they want to tell me, first they'll tell me about how much they dislike religion and what it asks people to believe and what it asks people to do. But then they'll say, and they'll start to remember fondly, they're growing up in a church and youth groups, choirs, potlucks, Wednesday nights, community service. And they'll say, I've had so many people say to me, I wish my kids still had access to that. And my kids do. And because we do hard things here, anyone who brings their kids through these doors, their kids have access to that. So that's my plug. I want to just say thank you to all of the people out there who do hard things, who choose to do these hard things, and who model for our kids that value, that if you do hard things, you can sustain good things. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Before I forget, flowers are provided this week by Linda and Richard McLeod in memory of Richard's mother, Janie Lee McLeod Leonard, who died in 2004. This is her birthday month. She was born in March of 1925. And now, please silence all your electronic devices as we center ourselves for today's service and listen to the prelude provided by the lovely Anna.
Wendy Carlos was born in 1939, and she's an American musician and composer best known for her electronic music and film scores. You may know her from her famous Switched on Bach album from 1968 of J.S. Bach's works performed on the Moog synthesizer. She was the first transgender recipient of a Grammy Award. And in the late 1970s, Carlos spoke openly about her transition and being transgender. She said, I have always been concerned with liberation and was anxious to liberate myself. She composed music for the films A Clockwork Orange and The Shining, as well as Tron. And this morning's prelude features the theme from Tron by Wendy Carlos, arranged for piano by Martin Tucker.
Thank you, Anna. Please stand and join me in the congregational affirmation as found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds, and as Unitarian Universalist, we side with love, embracing all people regardless of age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or religious background. We have been officially designated by the Unitarian Universalist Association a welcoming congregation that welcomes LGBTQ plus individuals. And I would like to say, since I worked in an HIV clinic as part of an internship, the saddest thing was seeing young men and women who wanted to resume a church life but could not go back to their home church. And so I value the fact that the UU is here for them. We especially welcome families and young children, those needing special assistance with caring for or entertaining the children will find someone in the back of the social hall willing to help. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so that we may know each other better. Board members wear green name tags, and they always welcome your comments, questions, and suggestions. Would the members of our Board of Trustees please stand now so that you may be recognized? Thank you very much. At this time, we would like to recognize any guests or visitors who are with us today. So visitors, if you are willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you are from. Or if you have guests with you, please feel free to introduce them. Please wait for the microphone, who will be brought to you by Emilio. Hello.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm a UU from Atlanta.
Hey, Paul.
Welcome, Paul.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Garrett, and I just moved here from Delray Beach, Florida.
Welcome, Jared.
Hi, everyone. My name is Svetlana. And as you can see, I'm not local with my hard accent. And actually, I'm from Ukraine. And thanks to Andre and Jeanette, I'm here now, and I like it.
Welcome.
Let's see. Go this way.
Hi, I'm Dot Hodder. I'm a UU from Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm wet and sandy because I'm camping at Sesquicentennial State Park with my dog. And I'm sorry to say I bumped a Kia Sorrento out here on the street. If it's yours, please talk to me after the service.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Zoe, and I'm here with my wife and child, and I'm here from the Harriet Hancock Center. Nice to meet all of you.
Welcome. Anyone else? No. Okay. Visitors, you certainly don't have to, but we'd love to have you fill out a visitor card and put it in the collection plate. You'll find one on the back of the chair in front of you. That way we can send you our newsletter and emails. We promise we will not come uninvited to your door. We are, however, always available for cookies and milk. Remembering our masking and distancing preferences, let's take a moment to greet each other, turn to those around you, and offer a pleasant greeting with a handshake or fist bump and a big smile.
All right, if you can gather yourselves back together. All right, are we ready? As we prepare for our chalice lighting this morning, we are obviously celebrating the upcoming day on March 31st of International Transgender Visibility Day. And that's a big part of our service today. I'd like to welcome again Zoe Glass from the Hancock Center, is going to be sharing with us today as well. We are doing sermon by committee today. So if you're not, if you're kind of tired with me and my sermon, then know something better is coming. So that's always a good thing. I have been reading the poetry of Meg Day recently, who is the author of the book that I've been reading, The Last Psalm at Sea Level. She is the winner of Meg is the winner of the Barrow Street Poetry Prize and the Publishing Triangle 2015 Audre Lorde Award. She has won numerous awards. She was raised in Northern California Bay Area, holding a BA from the University of California in San Diego. She has a PhD in literature and creative writing with an emphasis on disability poetics from the University of Utah. And she is currently the assistant professor of English and creative writing in the MFA program at North Carolina State University. She has both our opening chalice words today and our closing words. The opening words are from the book Last Psalm at Sea Level, and it's a play off of John Donne's poem, which is Battered My Heart, Try Nature God. She wrote a poem called Batter My Heart, Transgender God. Batter my heart, transgendered God, for yours is the only ear that hears. Place fear in my heart where faith has grown, my senses dull and reassures my blood that it will never spill. Show every part to every stranger's anger, surprise them with my drawers full of maps that lead to vacancies and chart the distance from my pride, my core. Terror, do not depart, but nest in the hollows of my loins and keep me on all fours, my knees, bring me to them, force my head to bow again, replay the murders of my kin until my mind's made new. Let Adam's bite obstruct my breath until I respire men and press his rib against my throat until my lips turn blue. You, O duo, O twin, whose likeness is kind, unwind my confidence and noose it round your fists so I may know you in your vivid impermanence. The poetry of Meg Day. I invite Linda Brennison up, who's going to share just a few words and light our pride candle for this day as well. I light our chalice, spirit of light and life, come unto us.
Even lower, Stephen. That was not quite low enough. As Stephen said, I'm Linda Brennison, and today we are remembering and celebrating the International Transgender Day of Visibility. It's a day dedicated to celebrating and supporting transgender and gender diverse people. Observance of the day is based on the idea that transgender people and their lives and contributions should be celebrated despite often being less visible due to widespread transphobia. In addition to showing love and support for transgender people, the day is also devoted to recognizing the history of transgender people and their achievements and raising awareness about issues that affect them, including the discrimination they frequently face. And as Jonathan said earlier, you might think that it's doing the hard thing to love a transgender person, but I'm here to tell you it's very easy. And thank you for being here today, beautiful people.
I invite the UUCC Adult Choir to come forward. This morning we'll be singing Courage to Be Who We Are by Ruth Huber from the Justice Choir Songbook. She says, Courage to Be Who We Are was written to commemorate the life of Gwen Amber Araujo and to celebrate the lives of beautiful and courageous trans people everywhere.
Story for all ages. Join me up front if you would like. Good morning. How is everyone? I'm going to read a little bit of a really cool book today that was written by Teresa Thorne, entitled "It Feels Good to Be Yourself."
That is true.
Yep, it is a true statement, so that's why we're going to read it. Absolutely. And it's a longer book, so if you would like, if you're interested in it and your parents would like to borrow it and read it at home, I can certainly leave it back there for you to do that. I have marked off the pages today to kind of help me. Can you see that? This is a dad of a toddler's paperclip. Can you see that? Yeah, it's a green hair bow, really, is what it is. I'm sure I have a paperclip somewhere, but that just looked prettier. All right, here we go. So we're going to meet some people and look at the beautiful artwork so you can see that. This is Ruthie. Ruthie is a transgender girl. That means when she was born, everyone thought she was a boy until she grew a little older, enough to tell everyone that she was actually a girl. Girl is Ruthie's gender identity. Yep. This is Ruthie's brother, Xavier. Xavier is a cisgender boy, so we're learning some cool terms, right? Xavier was born, everyone thought he was a boy, and he grew older. It turned out everyone was right. He is a boy. Boy is Xavier's gender identity. There are many different ways to be a boy or a girl, too many to fit in a book, but not everyone feels like either a boy or a girl. Non-binary is a helpful word that can help describe a kid who doesn't feel exactly like a boy or a girl. Yeah, so you've heard these terms, right? This is Ruthie's friend Alex. Alex is both a boy and a girl. When Alex was born, everyone thought Alex was a girl. But Alex is both boy and girl. This is Alex's gender identity. This is the last page before the hair bow. This is Alex's friend JJ. JJ is neither a boy nor a girl. Ever since JJ was very little, they never felt exactly like a boy or a girl. They just felt like themselves. And this is JJ's gender identity. I know for me and all of you, some of these terms and some of these things that we're talking about can be very confusing and make you wonder things. So the last pages I want to share are what we truly believe here at the UUCC. And this is what we want you to know. You may feel like a boy, you may feel like a girl, you may feel like a boy and a girl, or like neither. You may feel like your gender changes from day to day, from year to year. You might feel like none of these words describe you perfectly. You might not be sure yet. Maybe you're still figuring it out. But your feelings about your gender are real, so listen to your heart. No matter what your gender identity is, you are okay exactly the way you are. And can anybody read those words right there? And you are?
And you are yourself.
That's right. It feels good to be yourself, doesn't it? And the words say you are loved. The main thing that we want you to know here at the UUCC, no matter what you believe about yourself, you are in a place where you are loved and you are accepted. So thank you for coming down today.
Learn your lessons well, my children. Seek your truth in the wide unknown. Love each other, work together, and search for wisdom and happiness.
I got 2 mics up here. I don't need them. Can I put that one down there, JP? And I definitely welcome you if any parents would like to borrow the book or the book by poetry by Meg Day. They're certainly available to you. My only request is if you borrow this book, then make sure that I get the hair bow back because it matches a Baby Yoda outfit. So just need to know that. At this time, we create a space in our service for lighting candles that are significant of our joys that we are bringing, but also our concerns into this place. Every week we have candles in the foyer and that are available to you to light. And so at this time, if you have a candle, we ask you to come and share your joy, your concern briefly, and place the candle here.
Good morning. I'm Jane Lother. I have an update on Deb Matherly and her daughter, Kristen Matherly. And I have addresses for her here for old-fashioned folks that would like them in paper, or you can take a picture, and I'm going to leave them right on the altar. Deb Matherly's daughter is doing much better. She's able to walk upstairs and take a shower, and Deb is feeling like she's right where she ought to be, staying there cooking for them and playing with the cats since they can't play with their mom right now. So it's all good, but for all Deb means to us, I think a few more cards wouldn't hurt a thing. And at 9 o'clock on Wednesday at the State House, there is to be a gathering of folks who are opposed to the cruel transgender bills that are in the State House. So if you are of a mind, at 9 o'clock on Saturday, wear the shirt that says we're standing on the side of love and come on and represent us.
Saturday or Wednesday?
What?
Wednesday.
Wednesday at 9 at the State House. A.M. Wednesday at 9 in the morning at the State House.
The famous Jane Lother actually had an article in the editor's chosen piece today, state paper.
I light a difficult candle today for a friend of mine, a fellow chaplain and educator, spiritual care educator, Jen, who completed suicide this week, last Sunday. So I ask that you keep Jen's wife, Cindy, in your prayers and your thoughts and your love as we say goodbye. The last candle that we light today is for those silent joys and concerns that we share in this space. As we prepare for our offering this morning, we honor the work of the clouds that are filling our rivers today. Is that right, Bill? And invite Bill Stangler up. Our Share the Plate recipient this month is the Congaree River Keeper, and we're always delighted to hear from Bill about the good work.
Good morning. So my name is Bill Stangler. I am your Congaree River Keeper. I'm happy to be here today. I'm always happy to be here with y'all, but especially today. I'd actually double booked today, and I was supposed to be doing a cleanup, so y'all got me out of the rain. I can actually be inside and be a little bit dry today. I'm gonna keep my comments today relatively brief. A lot of y'all have probably heard me talk about the organization that I run, Congaree River Keeper. We're a grassroots nonprofit that works to protect the three rivers. I recently had someone ask me, what is an average day like for a riverkeeper? And I had to respond, there isn't an average day. It could be any number of things. I could be out organizing a cleanup, though not today. could be testifying at the State House, could be chasing down pollution concerns. The average person thinks I'm spending a lot of my time in a kayak and maybe fishing on conference calls. The reality is a lot of that time is actually spent filling out grant reports, responding to emails, multi-hour Zooms, or days where I feel like I'm hitting my head against the wall in long meetings with DHEC or policymakers or things like that. But we could not do the work that we do without the support of folks like y'all. So it really means a lot to have this congregation and the folks in here supporting the work that Congaree Riverkeeper does so that, as someone put it earlier, we can do the hard things like getting out and chasing down polluters and filing lawsuits and working on complex hydropower policy or taking on forever chemicals in our drinking water, or all the stuff that you can read about in the newspaper, as Tom pointed out to me a couple minutes ago, really getting a lot of ink out of the state newspaper these last couple of days. You can read about all that stuff on our website, on our social media, sign up for our newsletter. It's gonna go out next week if you wanna keep up with that. But thank you for the support that you guys give us so that we can do those hard things and occasionally spend some time in kayaks too. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Bill, for letting us know you do Zoom calls from a kayak while fishing. That's at least what I heard. Is that what you said, right? Something like that. If you'd like to give, the instructions on giving to our Share the Plate recipient are in our program. At this time, I invite our ushers to come and receive our morning offering.
This morning's offertory music is a recording of For Today I Am a Boy, performed by the band Anthony and the Johnsons. This band's name was inspired by trans activist Marsha P. Johnson and is led by singer, songwriter, musician Anoni. Anoni is the chosen spirit name and life name of this singer-songwriter. And she said in a recent interview, "The trans condition is a beautiful mystery. It's one of nature's best ideas. What an incredible impulse that compels a 5-year-old child to tell its parents it isn't what they think it is. Given just a tiny bit of oxygen, those children can flourish and be such a gift. They give other people license to explore themselves more deeply, allowing the colors in their own psyche to flourish."
One day I'll grow up, I'll be a beautiful woman. One day I'll grow up, I'll be a beautiful girl. One day I'll grow up, I'll be a beautiful woman. One day I'll grow up, I'll be a beautiful girl. But for today, I am a child. For today, I am a boy. For today, I am a child. For today, I am a boy. One day I'll grow up, I feel the power in me. One day I'll grow up, of this I'm sure. One day I'll grow up, I'll know a womb within me. One day I'll grow up, feel it full and pure. But for today, I'm a child. For today, I am a boy. For today, I'm a child. For today, I am a boy. For today, I am a child. For
receive our offering today, symbol of our commitment to our good work. A day to celebrate being seen and known, and to open our eyes to the oppression and injustice that is happening all around us for the trans and the non-binary community. What an honor it is for us as a congregation to set aside a day, a Sunday, prior to March 31st, to bring attention to Transgender Day of Visibility, to celebrate awareness, discrimination, or not celebrate an awareness, but also celebrate our work against discrimination that's faced by trans people worldwide. I'm gonna be the numbers person today, and then Zoe is gonna do the more inspirational work for us. And I'm so thankful for Zoe from the board of the Hancock Center to come and share with us today. I'm gonna put this information in the back a little bit later so that you can look at it yourself, but this is work from the Trevor Project. And the Trevor Project did a great job in 2022 of interviewing 34,000 LGBTQ people across the United States, ranging in ages from 13 to 24. And the great thing about the Trevor Project is that they segmented their work by the 50 states. And so you can actually go and look at the information that is unique to South Carolina. I just want to share some numbers from the Trevor Project that are unique to South Carolina. So these numbers are in the state of South Carolina. 67% of those interviewed, transgender and non-binary youth, experience anxiety and depression. 80% of transgender and non-binary youth in South Carolina experience symptoms of anxiety. 58% of transgender and non-binary youth in South Carolina seriously considered suicide in the past year. 58%. And 21% of transgender and non-binary youth in South Carolina attempted suicide in the past year. I know that we often get questions about why are we doing a service to celebrate the International Day of Transgender Visibility. And that's why. That's why we're doing it. Because we have a commitment as individuals to do the work of being a safe space for this section of our population. Fortunately, as I read those numbers from the Trevor Project, which are absolutely concerning, I am so grateful that we are in a state where local governments are doing all they can to support the right of trans and non-binary children, youth, and adults. Thank you for the sarcastic laugh. Someone thought, man, Stephen's lost his mind. Did he forget where we are? As a matter of fact, South Carolina currently has 18 bills for state legislators attacking the rights of trans and non-binary people. All of this legislation is based out of fear, and I saw a wonderful quote this week that says, all of the crowd that says books will turn your kids trans really need to start explaining why I am not, in fact, a very hungry caterpillar. So there you go. South Carolina is currently considering laws on the books to ban marriage and bills preempting local discrimination protections. State lawmakers are trying to prevent trans students from participating in school activities like sports, forcing teachers to out students, and censoring any in-school discussions of LGBTQ people and issues. Instead of limiting these resources, our schools should protect and support all students to learn and thrive. There are public accommodation bills that are seeking in South Carolina to prohibit transgender people from using facilities. Everyone should have access to these spaces, no matter their gender identity or expression. If you can't use the restroom, you can't fully participate in work, school, and public life. There are health care bills that target access to medically necessary health care like Medicaid for transgender people. Many of these bills ban affirming care for trans youth and create criminal penalties for providing this care. These bills exempt identical treatments offered to cisgender youth or are forced onto intersex youth. Other bills block funding to medical centers that offer gender-affirming care or block insurance coverage of health care for transgender people. The crowd says that books will turn your kids trans. Really need to start explaining then why we are not, in fact, very hungry caterpillars. But what is our response? We say when we gather, as Kate did so wonderfully today, we are a welcoming community. But you know, this can't not be just something that we say every Sunday. It has to be a covenant and a commitment to be that safe haven in the midst of an unsafe world. We have to be a place where visibility, places to be seen and known, don't cause harm, recognizing that visibility outside of these walls can be life-threatening. And you know, we cannot be content to just say we are welcoming. We have to do the work to constantly be growing, becoming a welcoming congregation. Needs change and culture shifts and grows, and we have to do the same. When I was a kid, my parents told me that we had a very progressive house when it came to how we regulated the temperature. We had a furnace and we had an attic fan. Anybody remember attic fan? No air conditioning unit. Growing up in the heat of Georgia in the South. An attic fan, for those of you that don't know, basically in the heat of the summer means that you lie in bed, you raise your window with the screen, and then there's a huge fan in the ceiling that sucks all the hot air from outside across you while you sleep, so that when you awaken in the morning, you're in a pool of your own sweat. That was progress, according to my parents. And I asked them one day, like, I have friends that have air conditioning. And they would say, you don't need air conditioning. We're fine. This is better than what we had. We didn't have a fancy attic fan when I was growing up. I do want to point out that I did find it interesting that I was the youngest of the three children, and when I left for college, my parents all of a sudden got air conditioning. So when we go there now, it's just so comfortable and progressive now. It is a progressive home when it comes to temperature control. But I remember as a kid thinking, we have to catch up with the times. We have to keep going. You can't just say this is progressive and then not keep up with what we need moving forward. And even though those are some debate of what we truly need, as if air conditioning is meeting a true need, as a congregation, we cannot just simply say we are a welcoming community. We cannot just say that we are a community that stands against racism. We cannot just say we are a community that welcomes LGBTQ plus individuals. We cannot just say we are a welcoming community to trans and non-binary people. We have to say we are becoming that we are constantly in progress, constantly in process, constantly working and growing. See, the clouds agree. I think that's what that means. We cannot be content to just say we are welcoming. Imagine if we changed our words for and Richard's looking at me like, how many times have we changed the script already? But what if we changed our words? How would it feel to us to say that we, instead of the UUA recognizes us, that we have achieved this honor, distinction, that we are a welcoming congregation, to have an honest conversation to say every day, we are figuring out what we need to do next to work on becoming a more welcoming place for individuals. That's how you truly lead in a state like South Carolina, where we have so much work to do. And this is our commitment to be moments of feeling loved and accepted in this place. If you lean in them for yourself, whether you found it later in life in this community or grew up here and grew into that awareness, if you lean into what it feels like for you to feel loved and accepted in this place, then it will motivate all of us to create that space for others. I'm so glad that Zoe has agreed to come and share from one of our great partners, the Harriet Hancock Center, about things that we can do and ways that we can be involved in doing this work in becoming a more welcoming place. Zoe?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So I'm really happy that I recognize a few faces in the audience. Some of you have come to our events. I think I've actually worked with a few of you, members of your congregation in the past as well. And it's a real honor to be here today to be able to talk to you about this Transgender Day of Visibility. So some may argue that transgender people are more visible in 2023 than they've ever been in the past. Not a single day passes without the word transgender or trans crossing the lips of pundits, news anchors, politicians all across the nation. But what we're seeing in the news isn't visibility. We're seeing a caricature of what or who transgender people are, one that dehumanizes transgender people and uses something twisted from reality to create fear, be that for clout or engagement or clicks. We see this dehumanization in both direct and indirect ways. When we hear people, transgender people called vermin, a contagion, deranged, insane, or delusional, we see those words and we recognize those as a clear, direct attack, a hateful attack on transgender people in their community. But what we sometimes fail to see are the indirect ways in which some people dehumanize and target transgender people. These indirect attacks could involve debates surrounding a host of proxy issues that affect the transgender community. Sometimes these issues are framed as a once needed liberation movement that has now gone too far. But the truth is, we haven't gone far enough. We've seen these arguments in the past surrounding a host of civil rights issues, and their modern interpretation towards transgender people are no less damaging than they were back then. So when it comes down to it, transgender people aren't these caricatures. They're not the creatures portrayed in some of these news segments. They're the real life brothers and sisters or siblings of people in our communities, people you know. Their mothers, their fathers, and their parents, their sons, daughters, and children. Transgender people have emotion, they have fear. They have moments of community and moments of happiness. And they deserve the same rights to pursue happiness that every other human being deserves. They're being used as a political tool, but they aren't that tool. They're real people, real citizens, and real neighbors, and they deserve autonomy and respect just like everyone else in our community. They just want freedom to live as their true selves without government interference, to be allowed to exist, to find employment, to find housing, and to go to the grocery store free of discrimination. So the Transgender Day of Visibility exists to celebrate the accomplishments of the transgender community and of transgender people themselves, and to reflect upon how far we've come and how far we still need to go. It's about seeing transgender people for who they are, meeting them where they are, and accepting them. It's about allowing transgender people into shared public spaces, into bathrooms, caring about their concerns, caring about their autonomy and their rights as fellow citizens of our democracy and as fellow humans. The Transgender Day of Visibility is about seeing how the rights of your fellow humans are being attacked in state legislatures across this country by a faction in our political climate that's trying to erase transgender people from public spaces and public awareness. And it's about standing up for these people and their human rights, to fight in support of a community that can't make change on its own without you. So for years, the transgender community has made progress. They fought for change, they fought for acceptance, and they fought to be seen and treated with respect by not only their neighbors and fellow citizens, but also by the states and the federal government, which have for so long treated transgender people as second-class citizens, undeserving of protections from hate and prejudice. And when many transgender people finally felt safe enough to come out, to show the world who they really were, because national acceptance was at an all-time high, the tides turned again. And prejudice against transgender people became mainstream. It's up to us as citizens, voters, and genuinely kind and compassionate humans to fight against this hate, to spread love and kindness, and to tell the politicians using real-life human beings as disposable pawns in pursuit of power that we, the people, will take no part in it. So I want you to look towards the transgender people in your communities and listen to them. See what they're saying, what their fears are, and why they're afraid. Acknowledge their successes and their victories, and allow them the space to succeed. But most of all, when you see a transgender person, don't pity them. They don't need pity. Instead, remember that they are living as who they need to be. They're living as their authentic self. And find beauty in it instead. Because instead of hiding away, they chose to shine as their true self. And that takes an immense amount of personal strength. So, as you know, I'm with the Harriet Hancock Center, and we try to provide a safe and welcoming space for South Carolina's LGBTQ community. If you want to learn more about what's going on or support the center, I do have some information cards or flyers on how you can get, so you can contact us to see how you can get involved, or if you'd just like to come to our events. Thank you so much for having me.
I invite you to join in singing our closing hymn, 1053, How Could Anyone? It's in your teal hymnal, and please stand as you're willing and able. I'll play it once through, and then please join me in singing 2 times.
As I said, you can remain standing if you would like, or be seated, either way. But as I said, Meg Day gets our closing words as well. with a poem that she wrote to the planet Pluto. And this is probably, make sure to get Ron Edge's approval on it that it's all correct. But she wrote to the planet Pluto, "If you're staying, I'll stay too. Maybe it's easier having been named after someone. Nobody expects that you'll rule the underworld or judge the dead, but they call you Pluto anyway, and once a planet too. I know a girl like you who used to be a thing she isn't anymore, but she really hasn't changed at all. Whose orbit didn't circle straight, whose size and distance never quite seemed right, but no one cared till now. I was a woman once rounded by my own gravity, catcalled into Hades by men who could not see this gem of a hard rock, was not made magnetic for the likes of them. Hey, little mama, don't take it so hard. So we are frigid, so we stay relegated out here with our kin. I'll wear my fade tight and my tie loose if you play your radio loud. They say we're known only in comparison to that which surrounds us, so I'd guess they'd hear our signal soon. I was a woman once, but that's not the farthest thing from the sun. Another universe might have let me be. Another universe might have let us be."
I invite you to join in singing our congregational benediction.
May the blessings of truth be upon us. May the power of love direct us. And may the peace of this till we meet again.
I'd like to thank you again, Zoe, for coming and representing the Hancock Center, but also sharing with us such great information and helping us grow as a congregation as well. And for all of our guests who are here today, we welcome you. Hope that you give us a chance to get to know you as you stick around and give you a chance to get to know us as well. Usually when that happens, we tend to be liked, so that's a good thing. Notice I said tend to be, nothing's 100% of the time. I know that we have a trip planned for the youth to the home of Majeska Simpkins, so if you're interested in that as parents with children, Jonathan or Bethany or Nancy will be in the back and can help with that. Thank you all for being here today.